Have you ever looked around your home and thought, one day, someone else is going to have to sort through all this? Maybe it was when you opened a closet that hadn't been touched in years, or stumbled upon a drawer filled with old photos and paperwork that haven't seen daylight since the 80s. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? That realization that one day, hopefully far into the future, someone will need to step into your shoes and figure it all out. And the truth is, they'll do it with love, but they'll also do it with tears, confusion, and a heavy heart. That's why what we're talking about today is so important. It's not about being morbid or focusing on the end. It's about preparing, protecting, and preserving what really matters for yourself and for your family. It's about making sure that when the time comes, your loved ones aren't left guessing, scrambling, or overwhelmed. They're left with clarity. They're left with peace. And most of all, they're left feeling grateful, not just for what you left behind, but for the care and thoughtfulness you put into doing it right. Now, I know these conversations aren't easy. A lot of people don't like thinking about it. But here's the thing. When you avoid planning, you're not just protecting yourself from discomfort. You're handing that discomfort off to someone else, someone you love. And trust me, when that day comes, they'll already be carrying enough weight. So let's talk about what you can do now to make sure that doesn't happen. First and foremost, let's talk about the stuff. You know what I mean. The boxes in the garage, the keepsakes in the attic, the stacks of paper in the filing cabinet you haven't opened in 10 years. It's amazing how much we accumulate over a lifetime. And every item, every note, every dish or book, at one point it meant something. But the question you have to ask yourself now is, does it still? I'm not saying get rid of everything. Not at all. But take a look around and really notice what you've been holding on to and why. Is it something you truly love, or is it just something that's been there so long you don't even see it anymore? Decluttering doesn't have to mean throwing away memories. It just means making sure that what you keep with intention. Start small. One drawer, one shelf, one corner of a room. As you go, ask yourself, would I want my kids or grandkids to have to make this decision? Would they even know what this is or why I kept it? You might be surprised how freeing it feels to lighten the load. And when you do it now, you're giving your family a beautiful gift. One less thing to worry about when they'll already have so much on their hearts. But beyond the physical stuff, there's another kind of clutter that matters just as much, if not more. I'm talking about the important information that often gets overlooked. Things like bank accounts, insurance papers, wills, passwords, and medical instructions. Most families don't talk about these things until it's too late. And that's when the stress, the confusion, and the disagreements begin. Imagine your loved ones trying to figure out which bills are due, who your doctor is, or where your life insurance policy is kept, all while they're grieving. That's a lot to put on someone's shoulders. But here's the good news. You can make it so much easier for them. All it takes is a little time and some simple organizing. Create a binder or a folder, physical or digital, whichever you prefer, and gather all the essentials. Make sure it's easy to understand and up to date. Write down where things are kept, who to contact, what your wishes are. Think of it as a roadmap for your loved ones, one that will guide them to the fog of loss with a bit more light and direction. And while you're doing that, think about your voice. Not just your instructions, but your heart. Letters to your children, notes to your grandchildren, even a video message if you feel up to it. Something they can hold on to, hear, or read that reminds them of who you are, not just in memory, but in spirit. Those are the treasures that last forever. More than money, more than things. Taking care of all this doesn't mean you're giving up on life. Quite the opposite. It means you're honoring your life and the people in it by making space for what truly matters. It means you're freeing up energy to focus on joy, on connection, on the moments that count. And it means that when your time does come, your family won't just mourn you. They'll thank you. So whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, this isn't about age. It's about action. It's about love. It's about making sure that when your family looks back, they'll know without a doubt you thought of them. You cared enough to make it easier. You gave them a parting gift that only you could give. And it starts with one simple decision. To begin, once you've started clearing the clutter and organizing your important information, something interesting happens. You begin to feel lighter, more in control. There's a calm that comes from knowing things are in order, not just for you, but for the people you love most. And that feeling, it's worth everything. But now let's go a little deeper, not just into what you leave behind, but what you pass on. Because there's a difference between leaving things and leaving a legacy. And your legacy isn't your bank account or your furniture. It's who you are, what you stood for, what you taught by how you lived. One of the most powerful things you can do for your family is share your story. Really share it. Not just the dates or events, but the moments, the lessons, the challenges, the memories that made you who you are. Because believe me, even if your kids or grandkids don't ask now, one day they'll wish they had. They'll want to know what your childhood was like, how you met your spouse, what kept you going during the hard times. They'll want to know your favorite song, your proudest day, your biggest regret, and what you learned from it all. You don't have to be a writer to do this. Just start talking. Record yourself on your phone. Jot down a memory each week in a notebook. Share a few photos and explain what they mean to you. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just make it real. Because these little pieces of your life, they become gold to the people who love you. And while you're at it, think about the values that matter most to you. Kindness, hard work, honesty, faith, humor, whatever has guided you, kept you grounded, made you strong. Write about it. Talk about it. Show it. That's what your family will carry with them, long after the stuff is gone. That's what becomes part of who they are. Now let's talk about something that's just as important, but often even more difficult to face. Forgiveness. As we get older, we carry a lot. Memories, yes, but also wounds. Maybe there's someone you haven't spoken to in years. Maybe there's a lingering hurt you've tried to ignore. Or maybe someone wronged you deeply and it's hard to let go. But holding on to pain doesn't protect you. It only weighs you down. And if we're being honest, it also lingers long after we're gone. Families fall apart over old grudges. Siblings stop speaking. Children carry anger they don't fully understand. It's heartbreaking, but it's also avoidable. Now is the time to make peace. Not for their sake, though they'll benefit, but for yours. Because healing isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the grip of resentment. And even if the other person never changes, never says sorry, you still have the power to say, I forgive. I choose peace. And if you're the one who needs to make amends, do it. Reach out. Say what needs to be said. Apologize, even if it's awkward, even if it's been years. You don't need to reopen wounds. You just need to offer a little honesty and a lot of heart. These acts of forgiveness and healing can change the course of your family's future. They can stop a cycle. They can soften bitterness. And they can help your children and grandchildren grow up seeing that it's never too late to make things right. That's a lesson they'll carry forever. And speaking of important lessons, have you ever thought about the traditions that live in your family? I'm talking about the recipes, the holidays, the songs you sing, the little rituals that make your family feel like yours. Those things don't carry themselves forward automatically. They get passed down. And if you don't share them, write them down, teach them, celebrate them, they fade. So bring your granddaughter into the kitchen and show her how to make your famous pot roast. Teach your grandson that card game your own grandfather taught you. Write down the blessing you say before dinner. Show them how you fold the napkins on Christmas Eve. These may seem like small things, but they're the glue that binds generations. They're what your family will look back on and say, this is who we are. This is where we come from. And if your family doesn't have many traditions, create some. It's never too late. You could start a new one this year. A special breakfast on birthdays. A silly hat everyone has to wear on New Year's. A photo you take in the same spot each summer. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be you, and your family will treasure it. Another thing you can give your loved ones, something that might surprise you, is your voice in difficult decisions. And by that, I mean advanced care planning. It's not a fun topic, but it's one of the most loving things you can do. Think about it. If you were to face a serious health situation, would your family know what you'd want? Would they know whether you'd want certain treatments or not? Would they know who should speak for you if you couldn't speak for yourself? When these decisions aren't made in advance, families are left guessing, and it's agonizing. But when you've made your wishes known, clearly in writing, it lifts an enormous weight from their shoulders. It gives them peace. It gives them clarity. And it gives you control over your dignity and care. It's not just about filling out a form. It's about having a conversation. Sit down with your loved ones. Tell them what matters to you. Tell them what you don't want. Let them ask questions. The more you share, the more empowered they'll feel to honor your wishes if the time ever comes. You're not just preparing for a possibility. You're giving your family a gift they may not even know they need. And someday, when they're sitting around a table, remembering you, they'll say, "I'm so glad we had that conversation. I'm so grateful they made it easier for us." One of the most meaningful ways you can support your family, especially in the years to come, is by giving them the gift of clarity. Because when things are left unspoken or undecided, that's when confusion, conflict, and even guilt can sneak in. And no one wants their loved ones to be stuck in that kind of emotional fog, especially during an already difficult time. But when you take the time now to get things in order, you're really saying, "I love you enough to make this easier for you later." That's powerful. And that's something your family will never forget. Now, there's another side of this that's often overlooked, and it's one that can be deeply personal. What you want done with the things that have meaning to you. I'm not talking about the money or the house, but the sentimental items, the old record collection, your favorite pair of earrings, grandpa's old army jacket, the family photo albums, or that faded quilt that's been in the closet for decades. To someone else, they might just be things, but to you, they're full of stories. And here's the truth. If you don't share those stories, they could be lost forever. So, here's something simple you can start doing today. Walk through your home and take note of the items that hold meaning. You might even grab a sticky note and write a quick message. "This belonged to my mother. It kept her warm during the war." Or, "This was the first book I ever read to your father when he was a baby." It doesn't have to be fancy, just personal. Even better, invite your family over and tell them. Pass the item along now. If you're ready, you'll get to see the joy and appreciation on their face, and they'll know exactly where that piece of family history came from. You'll also avoid the stress of them having to sort through boxes later, trying to guess what mattered and what didn't. And here's something else you might not have thought of, your digital life. Yep, I know it sounds a little modern, but these days, we've all got a little corner of the internet. Email accounts, online banking, social media profiles, cloud photo storage. When something happens to us and no one has access to these things, it can become a real mess. Worse yet, photos, messages, and memories stored online can disappear forever. So, make a simple list. Your logins, passwords, what accounts you have, and what you like done with them. Store it in a safe place, and let someone you trust know where to find it. It might feel a little strange, but believe me, your family will be so relieved to have that information when the time comes. And while we're being honest, let's talk about something a little deeper. Something many people avoid until it's too late. I'm talking about your final wishes, not just legal matters, but emotional ones. What kind of goodbye do you want? Would you want a funeral or a quiet memorial? Do you want a certain song played or a poem read? Do you want your ashes scattered in a meaningful place or to be buried near someone you love? These are hard things to think about, but they're also some of the most loving choices you can make ahead of time. Because when your family doesn't have to guess, they get to focus on celebrating your life, not stressing over decisions. And don't forget to include what you want said. Maybe there's a message you'd like read aloud, a story you want remembered, or maybe just a few words to say to the people you've loved most. Write it down, record it, put it somewhere safe. It doesn't need to be fancy, just from the heart. Now, I know all of this can feel like a lot. It might even stir up some emotions. But here's the thing. Every step you take now is an act of love. Every conversation you start, every note you write, every decision you make, it's all a part of giving your family something truly special. Peace. And that peace doesn't just help them. It helps you. Because once these things are settled, You get to spend your days more freely, more joyfully, knowing you've done your part, knowing your family is supported, knowing the memories you leave behind will be wrapped in clarity and care, not confusion or chaos. And don't worry if you haven't done any of this yet. It's never too late to start. Even one small action today can make a big difference tomorrow. Maybe you write one letter. Maybe you tell one story. Maybe you sit down with a loved one and simply say, "There's something important I want to talk about." Those moments matter more than you know. So here's what I want you to remember. Your family loves you. They respect you. They look up to you, whether they always show it or not. And when you take the time to organize, to share your heart, to plan ahead, you give them more than comfort. You give them connection. And that connection, that thread from your life to theirs, becomes something they'll carry with them for the rest of their lives. You spent years giving, teaching, nurturing, sacrificing. Now this is your time to give one last gift, a legacy of love, clarity, and peace. And trust me, they'll never forget it. If any of this has touched your heart today, I hope you'll take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. What's one thing you've already done to prepare? Or one thing you're planning to start? I'd love to hear from you. And I know your words will inspire someone else, too. And if this video helped you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That tells me you'd like to see more helpful content just like this. And don't forget to subscribe. There's so much more to share, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. Here's to living fully, loving deeply, and leaving behind a legacy your family will cherish forever. No matter where you are on your path, you have the power to make a difference. Starting today, you've got this.